What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Hey, it's September 27, 2021. The final game of the NFL Week 3 is tonight, and it's an NFC East division rivalry matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. And it should be a fun one. We got a pretty decent total. If we look at the Vegas odds today, we're sitting at a 51.5 total and just a 3-point spread in favor of the home team Cowboys. So I'm gearing up for what is hopefully another entertaining primetime game. Got to give credit where credit's due. You know, years past, we've had some lackluster football games in prime time. So far, so good. So let's look for Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts to keep it going. In this video, we're going to talk about the daily fantasy sports aspect of this game, mainly through the DraftKings Showdown Captain Mode format, but you could also apply this information to the FanDuel Single Game Flex Contest. And on Yahoo, this video brought to you by RunDFS.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS, we run DFS. What an incredible last week it has been. So many different members crushing so many different sports at so many different bankroll levels, and we are looking to keep the momentum going as we get to the final days of the MLB regular season, as we get the diesel engine rolling through week 4 and beyond of the NFL season. And hey, the NBA is just a few weeks away. Yeah, preseason's coming back the end of this week. Like, it's about to go down. Hey, if you're into hockey, if you're into playoff NASCAR, it's the most wonderful time of the year. I'm excited. Hey, let's kick our week off strong. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. 30% of you guys not subscribed. Let's fix that, man. Let's get the chase to 6K subscribers going, and if I can get that within a month or two, man, I would be ever so grateful, and yet so humble. Let's talk about Eagles and the Cowboys. First up, Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, they both threw for over 330 yards in week 1 and week 2 against the Cowboys defense. And while Jalen Hurts is not Tom Brady, he's not Justin Herbert, he did throw for over 340 yards in his last game against the Eagles last year. And this year he's coming through a little bit more miles under his sea legs, right? That makes no sense. He's got Devonta Smith, Jalen Reagor, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, and perhaps most dangerously, he's got his legs, right? We saw what can happen when a quarterback rushes for over 100 yards. You get that 100-yard bonus on DraftKings. That's worth an extra 3 points. That's 13 fantasy points. Hey, I'm not calling him to run for 100 yards here, but it's very realistic. We could see him go for 60 yards, maybe still a rushing touchdown, then throw for 200, and then with a 50-plus implied total, throw for a couple. So I like the floor. I like the ceiling on Jalen Hurts, and I really like him to show up, play some inspired football against the Cowboys in prime time. CeeDee Lamb, tier 1. Let's do it. CeeDee Lamb through 2 weeks. The Philadelphia Eagles have blitzed at a bottom 5 rate in all of football, leaning on zone defense. He went out and got Darius Slay, who was at the time one of the better man coverage defenders, corners in the league, just to come out and play more zone defense. Hey, it is what it is. I get it. Darius Slay's not the same that he used to be, but kind of an intriguing approach here. But I guess Eagles were just tired of getting burnt deep by receivers. So far, so good. So what that might do for us is you'll see Dak Prescott have more time in the pocket. He definitely has a higher completion rate when he's not facing the blitz. Who wouldn't? And you'll see a lot more cross routes, slant routes, stuff like that, stuff over the middle. And we kind of saw that last week against the Chargers. Last week, Dak did not force the pass against the zone defense with just 27 pass attempts, and he leaned on both running backs. But with a hampered Amari Cooper and no Michael Gallup, he fed CeeDee Lamb liberally when he did throw the ball. Lamb comes in as the third highest priced player on this slate. even higher than Amari Cooper. He played 97% of snaps last week and 93% of the team's dropbacks. Opportunity is there in CeeDee Lamb. If you're going to get him a chance to catch and shoot the football 10 plus times, I like his potential to be one of the highest raw fantasy point scorers on the entire slate. And of course, if he gets in the end zone, it's money. Next up, Dak Prescott. Hey, if the Eagles overcommit to zone defense like the first 2 weeks, I'm putting Dak Prescott in my tier 1. I like his chances of yet another 400-plus yard passing game through the air. He's got very easy, viable handcuffs in CeeDee Lamb, in Amari Cooper. And it's not out of the question for him to throw a touchdown or two to one of his running backs, and it seems like we might have 2 of those to choose from. So Dak is one of those guys I will have very, very high ownership. It's very hard to me imagine this slate playing out a lot and not seeing these quarterbacks be pretty prominent in the top lineup. So give me Hurts, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott as my tier 1 guys to target. We might move up and down throughout the day. I will follow up in the VIP section at rundfs.com, but that's where I'm starting at my tier 1. Tier 2, let's talk about it, man. Running back Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott saw 18 touches last week for 97 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. The Tony Pollard hype was really shadowed Elliott's role in this offense, and it's pretty brash to disregard that Zeke is still a big usage piece, right? He was also very key for picking up blitzes for Dak Prescott in week 1, and I'm not abandoning Zeke Elliott's purpose role in this offense just because Pollard did good. I think they can both be good, and I think in a single game range of outcomes, they can both be viable here, like they kind of were last week, right? So I will have probably tier 2 levels of Ezekiel Elliott exposure today. I don't know if I get to him in the captain spot. That's something I'm going to think about a little bit more. Again, in a 20 or less mindset, I try and stick to like 4 or 5 captain eligible guys, candidates that I think I want to roll out there. But right now I got Ezekiel Elliott as tier 2 because I think he's going to be very heavily involved. He's going to have touches with or without Tony Pollard evolving in this offense. So not giving up on Zeke. I'm very curious to see where you guys are at Zeke. Do you subscribe to the, hey, Tony Pollard's eating into him and he's going to overtake him? Or are you a little bit more real about the money they're paying Ezekiel Elliott to go out there and play football? They're not just going to push him sideways. But I think Pollard's good. If it got even to something like a 60-30, I wouldn't eliminate the 60 in a single game sample, right? So I'm there on Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to put him as a tier 2 for now. And then let's move on to Amari Cooper. Also tier 2 for me. He could easily be a tier 1. Last week, Amari Cooper let a lot of fantasy owners down with his lack of results at high ownership. But we've since found out that he was playing with a cracked and bruised rib that he suffered from the season opener. Cooper was a full participant in practice on Friday and Saturday, and they actually removed his injury designation. We might see the hand touching the hot stove effect from the field, meaning people who got burned by investing in him heavily on Sunday be like, I'm sticking with CeeDee Lamb here. Maybe that makes him extra lucrative, a little bit more leverage to be had. I don't know yet. Haven't really got a pulse on the ownership projections. But if he's presumed healthy, he likely gets double-digit targets. Remember, Michael Gallup down. So it's him and CeeDee Lamb. Both him and CeeDee Lamb saw 97% of offensive snaps last week. They're going to be on the field. And if he's healthy, he's going to be a part of this offense. Opportunity and ceiling is not higher for anyone else in this game. Cooper will line up more versus Darius Slay more than likely if that means anything to you. But like I said, them adopting zone defense might make that a little less meaningful than it was to begin with if you still value Slay as above average cornerback that isn't really neutralized by an above average receiver like Amari Cooper. Last tier 2 guy I want to talk about, Eagles receiver, my favorite handcuff to Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith. 8 and 7 targets respectively in weeks 1 and 2. It sounds modest, but that's good for over 25% of the team's target market share, and he will definitely be one of my favorite handcuffs for Jalen Hurts. He is my favorite handcuff for Jalen Hurts. Most likely any Devonta Smith lineup I have, whether or not I get to him in the captain spot, we'll see about that. But any Devonta Smith lineup I have will likely also see Jalen Hurts and vice versa. So Devonta Smith, tier 2 for me. Let's move it down to the tier 3 area. Miles Sanders. So far, the Cowboys have allowed 4.4 yards per carry to opposing running backs. And they've also allowed 18 receptions to running backs on 21 targets. Sanders has over 32% of the team's touches with carries and targets through 2 weeks. And he's involved in the offense despite just a 66% offensive snap count. Last week against the Niners, it was ugly. I get it. Falcons looked a little bit more like the upside I want to see from Miles Sanders. Yes, Kenneth Gainwell does exist. And there is always that Eagles running back by committee cloud hanging over him. But so far the numbers say he's going to have volume, and I'm targeting volume for NFL DFS, especially in a single game slate. And it seems like we should easily project him to be top 3 in volume on this team, and perhaps even argue that he's top 2 right behind Jalen Hurts, depending on your thoughts on Devonta Smith, right? So Miles Sanders, I'll have tier 3 levels of exposure to him. And then let's talk about the other running back, the elephant running back in the room from the Cowboys side, Tony Pollard. Man, offensive coordinator Kellen Moore had a game plan against the Chargers that involved both Zeke and Tony Pollard, and Pollard made the most of 16 touches, breaking 100 rushing yards and finding the end zone. Despite just 28% of offensive snaps so far on the season, Pollard has earned a role, and it's hard to imagine the Cowboys don't look to get Pollard some opportunities again here. And because of that, I want to get him involved in my lineups, and I am going to wrestle with how to approach Pollard from a game theory perspective. Maybe I really have to keep a pulse on ownership for what Pollard might be. Is he going to be too owned for a backup running back at really not a backup running back price point, right? $7,600. He's actually more expensive than Devonta Smith. So we might start wrestling with his realistic ranges of outcomes, and that is a strong topic of game theory to fire back and forth with my DFS friends. So again, I'm always leaning on you guys. What are you thinking about Tony Pollard here? I mentioned it with Zeke, but will you have more Zeke than Pollard? Do you think Pollard's going to start taking over? I kind of lean on the side of Zeke. It's Zeke's job until it's not Zeke's job. You're not paying him to be a backup running back, but in the age of the NFL modern era, I get it. Teams are moving away from the workhorse running back, so it's not unrealistic to have Swiss Army knives in your backfield to split some work, and even if it's 60-30, both guys can be somewhat relevant. Could they evolve into a Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt type of situation? Maybe I'm stretching it, but that's kind of where I'm thinking. And you got to explore the ranges of outcomes, not only for this game, but for this team going forward. So right now I'm going to put Pollard as a tier 3 on exposure in my own lineups. But definitely let me know what you guys are thinking on Tony Pollard. Next tier 3 guy I want to talk about, kicker, Greg the Leg, man. Greg Zuerlein. Very, very popular after last week. I don't think he's paid for any meals in Dallas since that game. No shame in my game, man. I'll play kickers in the showdown. Greg the Leg, he's 4K on DraftKings. He is pretty much a much-needed salary reliever for me. I'm looking for drives to stall out in this division rival game. 50-plus total. Hey, give me 3 field goal attempts. Give me a couple extra points. Can I get 10-plus fantasy points from him? We've seen kickers play a real big part in the showdown so far. I don't probably get to like a captain or anything like that because of how many implied touchdowns are in this game. But at 4K, if I can get 10 DKP plus at his Zuerlein, I'm going to have tier 3 levels of exposure to him. And I like him a little bit more than Jake Elliott right now. Last guy I want to talk about in the tier 3 level for me, tight end Zach Ertz. Stay with me on this one. Hey, if I told you that Zach Ertz has played 60% of offensive snaps this season with 4 targets, including a red zone target, just 10% less snaps than Dallas Goedert, and has only ran one less passing route on the season than Dallas Goedert, would you kind of agree that they should be a coin flip? Yeah, I think results-wise they are. Watch this. In my projections for this slate, I have Dallas Goedert projected at 8.64 DraftKings points, and I've got Zach Ertz projected for 8.28 DraftKings points. That's like a 0.3 of a point difference. Earlier this week, Zach Ertz was listed on the COVID IL. I don't know if that influenced pricing or what, but because of some reason, Dallas Goedert came in priced at $6,600, and Zach Ertz came in priced at $2,200. We have seen a couple of times during the 2021 Showdown season that you can get away with these low salary guys getting you single digit fantasy points, and I think $2,200 is a little too cheap for a guy like Zach Ertz, who will play a decent chunk of snaps every game, will be needed in what's projecting to be a close game, and for all intents and purposes, his ranges of outcomes are pretty doggone similar to Dallas Goedert. So $2,200 Zach Ertz, I got him listed as a tier 3. I'm going to have to be very responsible in governing and throttling my cap of ownership on him because he's only a couple of catches away from being a serviceable play. We've seen 3 fantasy points bink the showdown millie maker a couple showdowns back. I'm in on Zach Ertz, and again, I feel like there could be a reason behind that. Maybe they didn't expect Zach Ertz to play this game. I don't know. But Zach Ertz coming in a little bit too cheap for me with a very similar projection and range of outcome, in my opinion, to Dallas Goedert. Now, could Goedert hit 2 touchdowns and Zach Ertz hit 2 catches? Yes, but the latter could be true as well. So give me Zach Ertz. I'll take the gamble on $2,200. And that's it for Tier 3. My Tier 4 is going to be guys that I think are likely involved in this game. They're going to see some snaps, they're going to see some touches, but their prices are volatile, or their ranges of outcomes and their production game to game are volatile. So I'm going to scatter them a little bit more conservatively so I don't get myself stuck on an island of risk, right? So the guys that I'm going to put in that tier 4 area, and these are guys maybe I put capped at 20%, I set some specific rules, are going to be one, Jalen Reagor, and I think you can definitely argue the case for him to go up to a tier 3. For now, I'm going to put Jalen Reagor as a tier 4. Cedric Wilson, a lot of hype on him. No Michael Gallup, right? He should see some of those 3 receiver sets. But what we also might see is 2 running back sets, 2 tight end sets, and the 2 tight ends being Dalton Schultz, Blake Jarwin. And I do think that we've kind of got a poorer man situation of the Goedert Ertz thing, where they're both running, similar type of routes, similar type of snap counts, and they're getting similar results. And really, their results really aren't that great. So I will have some scattered exposure to these guys in the tier 4 category. And with Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin, one of the things I was thinking about doing with them, and I don't know if it's something I need to do, but one of the things I was thinking about doing is making sure that I don't have lineups with both of them. You know what I'm saying? If Schultz, no Jarwin, vice versa. I'm also kind of thinking about just not having more than one player from a tier 4 category in any of my 20 lineups, right? Just one risky guy and the rest being 1, 2, and 3s, right? Also in the tier 4 area for me, Jake Elliott, kicker for the Eagles. I definitely could argue that this being a 3-point spread, this being a dome game, Elliott could move up to be a guy in the tier 3 area. Personally, I'm going to lean more towards tier 4 for him. I'm going to keep Zuerlein in the tier 3. I just trust Zuerlein's leg a little bit more. And then everybody else, except Dallas Goedert, everybody else kind of just lands in that tier 5, right? I don't really see myself getting to either defense. Jalen Hurts did come into the season turnover prone with just like a 50% completion rate. But the Cowboys defense has certainly not shown us a ton of upside as a unit, even stemming back to last year, and they've allowed a lot of opposing quarterbacks to feast. So I don't think I'm going to get to either side. And Dak Prescott, he eats, sleeps, get ups, throws 400 yards, Eagles on the road. I don't see myself getting to these two teams in 20 lineups. Kenneth Gainwell, yeah, he's a fun name to play with in the Millie Maker or whatever. I don't think I get to him in 20 lineups. And then Greg Ward, Quez Watkins. The one guy I really need to meditate on is Dallas Goedert. And for me, I'm thinking there's a greater chance of me just washing my hands of him completely than trying to squeeze him in as a 3. I think at best Goddard would make it to a tier 4 for me. But as I talked about, his price point is in no man's land, right? That's dead man's territory, just $500 cheaper than Devonta Smith. I don't see myself going Goddard over Devonta Smith almost ever, and Goddard would probably need to pick up targets here, 5, 6, 7 targets, and likely a touchdown. Definitely a reasonable range of outcome if he did what he did in week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons, drops 14 fantasy points. That dog probably does hunt, but I'm just struggling with feeling comfortable about that. So I think I put him as a tier 4 for now. And because that price being what it is, I stay away from getting overexposed to him. But another talking point, man, are you guys finding yourself on the outside looking in on Dallas Goedert's house? If so, that's illegal, and we should probably not do that. Anyway, that's my kind of first spins look at tonight's showdown slate. Lots of money out there. No real interest in today's baseball offerings, right? There's like a 2-game late slate, just a couple, like a travel day. So more focus for me on this slate. Maybe you get some more eyes from the casual baseball players playing some showdown. But it looks like a fun football game to watch. So I'm looking forward to enjoying it. I'm looking forward to week 4 kicking off, continuing our week 3 success into week 4. And then, of course, tomorrow we'll be back at it with baseball. Look for a live stream right here on this channel, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. You want to hang out, come up with some baseball picks, and then more NFL content coming your way. Make sure you guys are in that premium Discord at rundfs.com. I appreciate you guys making a little bit of my time be a little bit of your time. I sure do love you, man. Crush the week, crush the night. Good luck, God bless, and go win some money.